ladies and gentlemen, welcome to it.
Good morning to the folks. What up to the youngins and bless up to the world.
And then Tay just put your info on blast like that.
It's what the people want to know, bro. My bad.
Nah, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to it. It is the Morning Shake with me, your host, Xavier Hendricks. But the problem is, well, not the problem actually, it's actually a blessing in disguise. My co-host, Mr. J. Paris, couldn't make it today. He had some family things to attend to over the weekend and is still on his way back all the way from CPT. And so I got my other co-host in the building, you know, from the Wednesday warm-up. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Andrew voice.
Pew, 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 pew. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is a Monday morning. And I just want to say we're starting the week off on a very, very powerful note.
I agree.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
A very powerful
Oh, I get it.
So I'm excited. I'm very excited for
A
this.
powerful note.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I'm the one that's co-hosting with you this morning.
Yeah. I'm glad
Because
too.
I might need some motivation, even if it's just like the basic entrance to fitness. I need some motivation. So I'm glad that I'm co-hosting with you.
So
this
what
morning.
I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, this morning is thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuned in, please do drop in the comment section any questions, comments, whatever it is. And as soon as we are done with the thought that we are on, we then jump over to the comment section and obviously get into your comments, thoughts, or questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask my co-host for this morning show, please, to help me welcome our guest here this morning so that we can get like a warm round of applause. And if you are at home or at work or in your car, wherever it is that you're watching from, I want you to help us welcome.
Oh, it's me.
It's you.
It's me. Okay, cool.
Go for it.
So we have a very, very interesting guest this morning. Somebody who is, I guess, to many people, very motivational and very inspirational. And the lady that we are introducing you to this morning, I'm just going to go into your Instagram bio and know that it won't do you justice, but you will do the rest for this. But Nicole Kim is a personal trainer, an entrepreneur. It says here PCOS. Am I saying it correctly? PCOS, foodie, and fit mama. Hey man, put your hands together there where you are sitting for the one and only Nicole.
Nicole, thank you so much for coming through.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's like I say, such an honor to be here. And like I say, I'm supposed to also just share a bit of the journey. And like I was saying to you guys, please excuse the voice. I hope I will be at least audible.
Nah, definitely.
Having a touch of the laryngitis, but
Yeah.
No.
Listen, is laryngitis, what do you call this? Can it move to
no,
other
it's
people?
not contagious.
Contagious?
It's not contagious.
Okay, I was like, hold on, let me.
It's basically like an inflammation of the larynx. So it's not it's not a virus.
So how do you
or anything.
exercise your larynx?
Quite interestingly enough, I was.
Oh,
at an
really? You
audition.
actually have an
backstory.
answer for that. Okay, go for it.
No, so I kind of felt it coming along, like Thursday.
Okay.
And so I'm not someone that necessarily, I don't get sick often. And so when this happened, I was like, okay, got
What's
a bit of a
going on?
Barry White thing going on. And then on Saturday, I had to go to an audition that required me to scream.
Oh,
I see.
my goodness.
So I was
So
channeling
it made it worse.
my deep alto, wrote it out. And
From the stomach.
from the esophagus everywhere. And yeah, this is the result of it all. And we are here now.
So, Nicole, you are obviously in a very interesting world because this world that you are involved in is like it's not often you hear about this world, especially in this in the world of sports and in South Africa. Most of the time, you hear soccer, football, you hear rugby, you even hear about cricket, but it's very unlikely that you would hear the kind of sport that you are involved in. And to take it even one step deeper, it's unlikely to see the ladies involved in this kind of sport. Because normally when you hear this, you think Arnold Schwarzenegger, you think like, and I know that Arnold has a competition also that he runs.
Yes.
But you don't think necessarily that the ladies are involved in this. And so I guess my opening question would be, how on earth do you get involved in bodybuilding, or is it called bodybuilding, or just kind of take us the breakdown, because we live in such a politically correct world that you don't want to say something that's gonna cause any offense.
Yeah.
But take us through that world of what it is that you do and how you got involved in it in the first place.
So I always tell people that bodybuilding, it is a sport of aesthetics, which sounds like such a contradiction.
Yes.
But I've learned so much in this journey, and I fully get where you're coming from, because prior to even getting into it, I really never knew much about it. And it was a lot of my friends were doing it, or friends of friends.
Okay.
And basically how I got into it was I wasn't always fit. I come from a fit family, and throughout high school and primary school I was fit, but when I got into varsity, I found fast food. And so I lived on fast food. And eventually when I actually got into the working environment, I was obese. I think, for lack of a better word, I was literally obese. And
That's hard to believe, like, looking at you now.
Yo.
no, really, it was. So, like I said, I was literally living off of fast food. I'm not even kidding. It was not even an every week thing. It was like an everyday thing, because it was, you want that food that you don't still have to take long to make, so it was just there. It was convenient.
It's quick,
And
it's
I went to
convenient,
UJ, so
you got that
around
whole
UJ
McDonald's across the road
it was
there.
there, walking distance, so,
Yeah.
and it was there. So there wasn't really motivation per se, which is ironic because I was a sports psychology student, so.
Oh, wow.
The irony.
The irony. But I eventually got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm tired of buying new clothes. Let me just call it what it is, because the cost of living was getting expensive.
Okay.
And essentially what I had was I'd gone from something like a 26, because I was quite small, so 26 size pants. I was wearing a 44. And it was
That's
buying...
like more than that's double.
Yeah,
Almost
that is double.
Yeah.
And it just got to that point of where I was just like, it was enough. I couldn't take it anymore. It like gassed me to actually walk from my door to my gate. So when you're out of breath like that, it's a problem.
Yeah, that
Yes.
is a problem.
And also, I've got a family history of comorbidities. My dad had diabetes. My mom has like high blood pressure. So, it was there. It was like just waiting for me to like take it.
Yes, yes.
And I've got 2 little kids. And I was like, I need to make certain lifestyle changes to basically be around for them.
Yes.
Because the path that I was going on was not going to end very well. I would have probably been on a host of medication right now. But eventually I joined the gym, and I was blessed enough to meet up with a personal trainer at the time who... I was one of those girls who was like, cardio, 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 because in my mind I was like, okay, cardio is going to be the best thing for me to get to where I need to be. Not
Especially with weight loss. So.
Exactly. But I do feel that cardio does get such a negative, how can I say?
Reputation.
Reputation, yes, yes. And so I find that it does definitely have its place. But the problem is you can't focus too much on it.
Wait, if we say cardio, for those who don't necessarily know what cardio involves or entails, what are we speaking about? Like running?
So, yes, so basically anything that is going to increase your heart rate.
Okay.
And over a specific amount of time. So usually when I'm referring to cardio specifically, I'm talking about steady state cardio, which is like going for a jog or going like on a treadmill, walking on a treadmill, cycling on a bike. And I would do that for like an hour at a time, which, like I say, in the beginning it's cool because when you're that heavy, it definitely works.
Yes, yes.
But then you get to that wall where your body is like, no, we need to change it up, because our bodies they adapt so easily that, and even now with my training, I never keep a set training program. It always changes because you kind of need to,
To
keep
work
the body
different
guessing.
areas, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and so this gentleman helped me, and I kind of take him as my mentor because he was the one who, even though I said I studied sports psychology, I wasn't using it. And so when I got into...
You weren't practicing what you were
I
preaching.
wasn't. I really wasn't. It was
Yeah.
actually quite sad. And this gentleman, his name is Rulani, he was a personal trainer at Virgin Active, and we used to train at the Virgin Active in Ormonde before it closed. He literally live now. Bear in mind, I live here in the south as well, so I'm in Ridgeway or Mondi side, right? He left there. I followed him. So whichever gym he went to, I was there. It
ended up with him, yeah.
it didn't matter where. And what I liked about him is he showed me the basics, not to keep me there. And that's kind of the approach that I take when I'm with people now. Because when I work with people, my goal isn't for you to stay with me.
Okay.
My goal is for you to learn and take what you
Grow,
need.
yeah.
And then go out and use that. Because I don't want you to become too dependent on me.
Yes.
This is an education thing.
Yes.
You know, so I give you the skills, you go. And that's what it did for me. And I think that just kind of ignited a passion in me. And from about 2016 to 2018 was where I kind of got my body ready to actually even look in the direction of competing. So I had a lot of friends that I trained with at gym, because eventually I was like, let me get into like, you know, weight training and everything. And found out I was very strong, naturally.
Okay.
So I enjoyed it a lot because I trained with a lot of guys. And
How did you discover that, hey, I'm actually, did you like pick up with the other guys and you're like, hey,
yes.
I'm actually keeping up with,
Yeah, so what happened was I trained with a lot of guys and they were much younger than me. I think at the time I was in my mid-20s and they were like 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
They were strong men. They were literally
Yes.
strong men competitors. And I had to keep up with them. Obviously not the same weights they were pushing, but it kind of forces you to adapt. And what I liked about them is they lifted heavy, but their form was impeccable. And I was like, I want to get like that. And so I always trained with them. I would always train like week in, week out. I trained with them. And it was just the thing. I kind of tested, you know, the boundaries, because there's a little bit of a fear of I'm going to get hurt or, you know.
Yeah.
But I try and not let that cripple me, because that's actually what keeps you from reaching those goals.
Yes.
So each week I was like pushing. And then it was with them that I actually did my first 200 kilogram deadlift. I was like, okay, I can do this.
when
When I hear that amount, I'm just like, oh, wait, what?
when I told someone you coming on the show, they're like, yeah, you must make her do a deadlift. I'm like, sure. It's like I should have asked you to bring something and then like
Maybe
show
I should
her.
take you guys with me into the gym.
Nah, for real. Lead you on up in there. It's
Yes,
okay.
you mentioned some very interesting things that I want to speak to with regards to the technique, right? You mentioned something called form. And I guess that with a lot of people going into, let's just say not even for the level of bodybuilding, because you were saying that, and I read about it as well, that bodybuilding is more about the aesthetic than what it is about strength. And a lot of the times people like, yo, you must be super, super strong. I guess obviously the strength is part and parcel of being so muscular, right? But it's mostly about the aesthetic. But when you
Yes.
speak about form, right, there's obviously, what does that mean for somebody,
Yes.
a lay person who is watching and they're like, what do you mean by form? Because I hear this a lot, like, obviously, I do go to gym now and then myself.
Not enough.
Now and then. Now and then. Yeah, so I'm definitely being both rebuked and motivated by you this morning.
Amen.
But what does form mean?
Okay, so I suppose the most simplest way of explaining it is just literally going through the motion of the exercise in a manner that is comfortable for your body.
Okay.
That doesn't put your body into a position where you can actually hurt yourself.
Yes.
So it's not just as simple as, hey, let's pick up a weight, or hey, let's do this. There is a way that you go about doing these things. And I always tell people, like, humble yourself when you get into a gym, because I see a lot of ego lifters. I've seen so many people get hurt. And
Van
it
wil
is-
kwaai hou, no,
No,
that's
really.
but because everybody's like
And then you
going,
hurt
right?
yourself, yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is, people tend to do more harm than they actually are, you know, helping themselves.
Yes.
Because should you get an injury, it can just cause issues. You know, it can put you out for 6 weeks at a time, or it can be something that is recurring, then you'll have to go for rehab. So there's a lot of things that goes into it. So I say to people, when you get into a gym, and especially if you're like completely fresh, you've never been in the weight section, align yourself with someone that actually
That
knows,
understands that world, yeah.
And I always say, like, make use of the personal trainers. You're not
Yes.
going to be with them forever. Let them show you the basics, because there's a difference between free weights and machines. And I say to people, like, you know what? Learn everything. Be patient. Start with baby weights, if we have to call it that. But learn how to actually what feels right for your body, because it's such a hard thing to actually tell people. You have to do that mind-muscle connection. So a lot of the times when I lift, I actually close my eyes because I'm trying to focus on the body part that I'm training.
Sure.
So it's like, you get people that speak to plants.
Yes.
And they grow.
Yes.
It's kind of the same concept. So when I'm training arms, I'll close my eyes and I'll be like, okay, bicep, do what you need to do. So you like kind of talk to
So
yourself.
you're connecting your mind
It's a
and
very
everything
psychological
together,
thing.
yeah. And here's part of the question I want to ask you. I want to ask you a twofold question, right? So the first part of the question would be the area of discipline. Because when I was getting ready to speak to you, I actually spoke to another friend of mine, Byron, who you also know, and he was also in the world of bodybuilding and weightlifting and all that. And so I actually kind of scratched his tongue to find out what the world is like and what what I should ask you and the direction I should actually go with the conversation. And him and I ended up having a good 30-minute conversation about it. And he was mentioning something key over and over and over. He's like, hey, brothers, discipline for this thing it requires discipline. It requires discipline. So twofold. The first thing is the discipline factor that goes with the world of any kind of training, I imagine. And then also the instant gratification that I think the world that we live in wants us to, like, I'm going to go to gym now, and if I don't see in a week my six-pack is so and my muscles is so, then this thing doesn't work. I must go and take, steroids. I must drink this protein shake or that or whatever. So speak to us a little bit about discipline and just instant results or searching instant results.
So I will say this, for sure, there needs to be a certain degree of discipline. And I say this because this sport will teach you patience like no other. I literally used to think like that. Did my first comp, I was lean, had fun with it. And
when did you do your first comp?
I did my first comp in 2018. It was I would call it a regional. It was a central Gauteng competition, an Ifbb affiliated comp. And I placed third in my first comp. So
that's good.
It was quite nice. Learned so much because I'm kind of like a perfectionist, and I say this because I went in with the mentality of I'm gonna look like this and I'm gonna maintain it for like until the next
this
competition.
momentum. I'm gonna
But our bodies are not designed that way. Once you get into that competition state, your body starts to normalize itself after comp. So that means filling out. You kind of look a bit fuller. You still have the shape,
but it kind of goes
you're
back
not
to
completely. It's basically it's called homeostasis. Your body's trying to get back to its normal, basically its normal shape, if I want to call it that.
It's natural.
And it's natural shape, and so I say it teaches you patience because it's like you say, you want to do this thing now and you expect that six-pack. And it must come. And unfortunately, there's so many factors that goes into that and you need to be patient. It's not going to happen. Sometimes you'll get certain people who just have really dope genetics and it happens for them in a week. But those are people who are most likely already lean to begin with.
Okay.
Like me, I can do a couple of sit-ups for probably a week and then
Talk about that.
Then it's fine.
You sound like my brother. My
No,
brother.
it's because I'm naturally thin. So it just happens.
Yes. And so, like, when I say that, because my brother's a sprinter. And so he's always had that lean genetics. So I'll see him, and it actually irritates me because I literally have to diet down.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And so you get people
I need
that
to
are
try
like
and
that.
gain weight.
Man, we need to swap metabolisms. So it teaches you a lot of patience because, you'll get yourself to a point where you're doing all these things and your body's just not responding enough.
Sure.
And that's where it tests you. And this isn't like a 2-week thing. I'm talking about a months or years type thing where we will train to be able to gain even a smidge of muscle. Could take us years.
Sure.
And that's the level of patience you need to have with the process because you'll do things and you'll be like, but nothing's working.
Yes.
Nothing is happening. Why? And my coach will tell you straight. I've been with him since 2017. One guy will never leave. And we've got the kind of relationship where I'll call him up and I'll be like, something's not working. Something isn't right. And he'll be like, no, trust the process. You need to be patient. Because we live in a world where we want that instant gratification.
Yeah.
We want that body now. but it's not possible. And if you want to do the things to get there, you know, cutting corners, it's never tangible. And it's not something you can sustain for a long period of time. So that's where the discipline comes in, because I feel like the two go hand in hand, the patience and the discipline. Because this is a sport that is going to test you mentally, for sure. Because like you said, in my bio, I'm a foodie. I love food. I bake, I cook. It's what I do. And I get to a point in my preps where
You can't eat certain
I'm just
things.
baking and cooking the whole time, and I'm giving it away.
Yeah.
Because that's where I get my gratification from, because I'm like, well, I can't eat it, so I might as well give it away.
Yeah.
So if you're someone that has those issues, you're not, it's going to be such a journey. And I think that's why I've kind of managed to grow, because I come from, and I'll go into it, I come from having like the eating disorders, the being overweight. And so in the back of my mind, that's always there. And this sport will expose all of those things. Because there's a gentleman by the name of Lyle McDonald. He's one of like the forefathers of nutrition, and he works a lot with bodybuilders. And he's also been noted to say that it's the one sport where when you actually go into it, if you've got those issues, it's going to expose it.
Sure.
And you need to be strong enough for that.
So it's a mental journey
Oh,
also.
for sure. Because imagine you're having, and I mean, remember, humans, we're social people, right? So how do we most of the time it's through eating and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
a
go
wine
pry at
drinker
this one's
also,
house.
So,
and
so it's like, imagine going out with your family. You can't have that stuff. So you need
Hey,
to.
that discipline must kick in now.
You have to. You have to. And so I've now become that person where it's like I walk around with my scaftons and I'm like,
Yeah,
you
so
know,
like,
no.
okay, you
But
guys
they
do
so
that,
used to
I'm
see
going to
that.
do this, yeah.
I get you.
At work, it was, so when I used to work in corporate, it was the same thing. I'd have a lot of functions and stuff that I'd go to, and I'd be that one standing there with like water or coffee, you know. So there's just certain times where it requires you to be just a little bit more focused, and especially the closer you get to comms, because we work a lot with carbs. And so carbs is your basic energy. And the moment you start to take that away, because remember now, when you're getting towards a competition, you are literally getting yourself leaner. And that requires you to cut down calories. And carbs are the one thing that go. So as you get
There's
closer,
bread and...
look, personally, I don't eat bread per se, but yes. So a lot of what you would be having, like your rices and stuff, starts getting cut down. And our brains function on carbs. So the moment you start eliminating that from your diet,
You have to now be
you
mentally
become
now.
a fight or flight person, literally.
It's like either I'm going to push through this.
Yes, the fuse is very short.
Yeah.
So your patience is short. So it's kind of, you have to also watch all of that.
Yay.
So it's my family.
we got so much questions there.
do.
People want to know what's happening.
We do. And I thank you so much for everybody who is in the comments in the live chat right now and for all your questions. But before I get to the other questions, seeing that you are speaking about dieting and discipline in your diet and what you consume, there's a question from Keegan. He says here, also calculating your carbs and protein and fats. He asks, do you use the amount of carbs on the nutrient section of the packaging, or do you weigh with total weight on the food scale, for instance, like oats? And then he continues to say, i.e., on a food scale, 100 grams of oats has 57 grams of carbs. Do you weigh the amount of carbs you're going to eat by the 57 grams of carbs, or do you use the 100 grams of the weight?
Yeah.
Steady state cardio or HIIT?
This is now technical
And then he
questions,
goes-
but I'm sure you already
And then he
understand what this
continues by saying, for fat burning at 70% of your heart rate? Question mark.
Okay, so I actually, that's such a dope question. So I'm actually grateful that you
I don't
asked
understand
that.
much of that question.
Well, okay, so the best way that I can break this down is to look at what I do. So I use dry weights, and specifically using the 100 grams of oats. That's what I do. I
Okay.
look specifically at total weight, and it's calculated according to that.
Okay.
So usually,
So wait, it's weight, like the whole thing is weighed like
Dry
100
weight,
grams.
dry weight.
And then the carbs inside of that 100 grams might be 60
it
grams.
varies, yes, depending on whatever kind of carb you're
So which one
having.
do you take?
No, I work with
The
the weight.
entire
I work
weight.
with the entire weight.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But that being said, also my requirements is different to yours and different to yours.
Yes.
And I say so because no two bodies are the same. And so then you're dealing with people that have comorbidities. You're dealing with people that have insulin resistance. You're dealing with people that have diabetes. You're dealing with, I specifically, hypothyroidism. And so I don't have, my thyroid isn't functioning, so I take medication for that. And so if anyone knows about hypothyroidism, your thyroid basically regulates your entire bodily functions, right? So when it's not working, whether it's hyper or hypo, it's not a good thing. Now, I just have the severely underactive version, and that basically what it does is my body digests things very slowly, like much slower than the next person. So my rate of activity is always higher than the next person,
So you can combat that.
just to burn the same amount of calories that you would need to burn, for example, right? So when I talk about basically my diet, my need will be even lower than yours, because let's just give a number to it. Let's say average 1,500 to 2,000 calories is what a lady would use. Say you're training even 3 times a week. So not a sedentary person, but someone that is moderately active, right? 2,000 will be your maintenance calories. So that's what you'd need to eat to basically keep your weight constant.
Okay.
Okay. When you're looking at burning, you are going to basically make adjustments to that. So let's say you're eating at 2,000, you're going to adjust it by 500 calories. So you're going to go in that direction. You're going to eliminate, right?
Okay.
That's going to cause your body to now, let's say, and especially with the fact that you're being active, right? Because you're consuming less calories there, you are being more active, so you're burning. Okay, so that's what causes weight loss. But it's too easy to say that because, like I said, you have people who they've got an array of comorbidities, especially like in today's day and age. Like I was saying to you, a lot more people in our age group are having those comorbidities.
Yeah.
And so the diet that I set for him wouldn't be the same as yours. We'd need to basically run in a whole battery of tests for you to get to what is your maintenance, what would be your deficit, and what would be you need to basically how much you need to eat to be in a surplus.
Okay.
So for myself, being hypothyroid, my calories are. I'm sure my daughter eats more than I do.
Sure.
So we're looking at the lower, like below even 1,500. That's my maintenance. You see. So I can't drop any lower because then you start stressing your thyroid. So what do? I increase my physical activity. So when he was talking about steady state and heat and all of that, everything has its place. I don't do a lot of cardio for the mere purpose of I do it closer to comp. So during my off season leading up to just before I'm about to start cutting, I probably do, I want to say 5 to 10 minutes of cardio a day.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Yeah, that's not much.
No. But in the same breath, the amount of weights I lift,
It
I
can.
burn a lot.
It can.
You see?
Leah, I want us to run through everyone's questions, and then
Okay.
I want to get to Timothy's question just now. But before I get to Timothy's question, I want to... because Timothy's question starts getting into the juicy side of things now, yeah? And then, but I see Annalisa's got some questions there.
Yeah. So again, Keegan asks, just before we get into Annalisa's question, he says, how much do you budget on your diet? Because obviously that is something that we need to take into. I always say, for instance, let me make an example of people who decide to adopt a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle. I'm like, that's all good and well, but like for me, I'm already working out the budget. So I
Yes.
guess for you as well,
Becomes expensive.
it becomes expensive. But how do you then work out the budget, and how much do you budget on your diet?
Okay.
And then Annalise asks, how often do you work out, and is supplements necessary for, I think specifically for what you do?
Okay.
I guess it varies from person to person.
Yes.
Joanne says, good morning, my people. And then, do you want to first answer that, and then you'll go into
Now
Timothy's?
Yeah, before we go into
Okay, first answer
Okay,
those
so I think
two
it was the
questions.
budget, right?
Yes.
The budget. Okay, so first of all, budgeting on a bodybuilding diet is very different to budgeting for, I hate to say it like this, but like a normal person.
nah, just
No,
say
it is. Say it as it is.
It's in the context of the
average
conversation, so we
everyday
understand where you're going. Yeah.
But so I can say according to like what I do, because I remember when I first started eating healthy, I was like, do I need to now go out and buy additional things? And the long and short of it is you don't necessarily have to do that. And I suppose also, and this is kind of why I don't know if I can even diet any other way, meal prepping.
Okay.
It's what I've become accustomed to, okay? And so when I like a bodybuilding budget, guys, it can be costly. So costly. We spend a lot on chicken, we spend a lot on hake and beef. And so,
So what's the things? Chicken, fish, beef.
oh, for sure.
So those are protein.
Those are the proteins. And then I'll talk about supplementation as well. And before I do that, let me just say that nothing beats a whole meal. Okay? That's the best thing ever, right? And so supplementation is merely for that. It's in the name. It's only to supplement your diet.
Okay.
Okay?
So you must eat proper food.
You have to, but
Yes.
obviously life happens, right? We are living in fast-paced life, so you can't always. And imagine how much like bags and stuff you need to carry if you have to carry whole meals with you all the time. So that's why people pick and choose the meals that they're gonna have as whole meals, and they'll supplement it with like protein shakes or meal replacement shakes or whatever, right? So there definitely is a purpose for it, but if you can have a whole meal, have that whole meal. So going back again to budgeting and that, when you are eating or looking at eating healthily, you don't need to go as far as your kitchen, because if you are someone that buys proteins or buys veggies and even frozen veggies, so what I do a lot of is I'll go and I'll buy, whenever there's on special, I'll buy like, I'm like the special queen, okay?
Yeah.
And then I'll freeze,
Okay.
okay? So it just depends.
How long can
on-
you freeze?
You know, I try not to freeze for too long. So this is what I do.
What
When
are you
I-
looking at, like a month or two or more?
About a month, about a month. But I mean, I will tell you the amount of stuff I go through, it's done before that even, right? So I literally, it's up to the individual if they're going to buy like fresh or if they're going to buy frozen, right? I mean, fresh is always better. But I mean, for time constraints in life, you're going to go with frozen.
Yeah, it's more
Convenient.
Convenient.
Exactly. So, yeah, no, I mean, the proteins gets very costly. So I buy in bulk.
Okay.
That's what I do. I just try and like look for wherever there's a special.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, but the veggies, because I'm just someone that enjoys veggies, like naturally.
Yes.
So it's never ever an issue for me. So I would say to people is like, look inside of your kitchen first and see what all you have. It doesn't have to be that, okay, now we need to go to Woolies or we need to go here and then everywhere.
And
to
then
go.
it becomes expensive. Yeah.
That's when it becomes expensive, because you get people who are like diet and they're like, okay, I need to go and get all of these things. In the meantime, they've got 70 to 80% is already in the
Already
house.
there, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
So
just the
don't-
way you're approaching it now, yeah.
Don't make yourself broke.
I want to ask you this question, right? Before we get into, and do you know Timothy
Surname.
Barnard?
Bernard.
Barnard. I feel like you know,
He interviewed me.
and I feel like he's being asperous with this question.
He interviewed me last year. Okay.
Okay, but I'm gonna ask his question now, right? So listen, here's the thing. As far as, because you were speaking about being able to kind of keep up with
guys.
the strong men, right? What is the difference in a world that we're living in where there's a lot of equality issues and a lot of, you know, female versus male, men versus women situations that we're dealing with? Is there a difference between the males and the female divisions as far as what they are able to pick up, what ladies are able to pick up? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so if we're gonna, call a spade, men are naturally stronger than females. Okay, it's just because of physicalities and because you guys have a little thing called testosterone. So, okay,
So
but
there's an edge because of the
there's
testosterone.
Yes. But that being said, I will say this, right? When looking at males and females have been stronger in the sense of going way back now, right? Famines. The women are the ones that are actually supposed to survive. You guys are literally just there to procreate. Right? So that's just breaking it down. I think females are the stronger
Shots
sex.
fired.
But they do say that, and they say that life expectancy for your female is actually longer,
longer.
than
Yes,
male.
yes. And so because of testosterone, that means guys will have more muscle. They
So
essentially...
testosterone gives an advantage.
So testosterone is a male sex hormone. It's what actually gives you your strength, amongst other things. Now, that being said, we as females, we have testosterone, but it's exceedingly, it's minuscule. It will even...
Compared to the
Yeah,
male.
even if a lady has the highest amount of testosterone, which is usually in your PCOS ladies, and I'll explain about that, it still pales in comparison to a man. So usually, like studies have shown, from the ages of like, you know, like toddlers until about 6-ish, I stand to be corrected, the strength levels is pretty much the same.
Okay.
But the moment puberty starts setting in, that's
Then
when
there's a shift, yeah.
there's a shift. And so it is what it is. It's, you know, anatomy. There's nothing we can do about that. Men are stronger than female. The other day I was in the gym and this guy comes up to me and he's like, oh, you're very strong for a female. So I'm like, what does that mean? You know, why should there be that separation of you're strong for a female? It's so unnecessary. Like, why can't you just say I'm strong? You know what I mean?
But you even if we do call it in those two categories, you probably outlived many men.
Like I always say that
Because you're well trained, you're
I mean,
doing
I
it. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if we both go to the gym, as much as I have testosterone,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to keep up with it.
But maybe in the beginning. But if it's something that like is a constant, then you definitely will pass me eventually. You understand?
Just because of the advantage of testosterone.
Yeah. And also, and I think women get so much flack for that is because I honestly feel like, and I'm sorry I have to say this, it's like we have to work harder. We have to work harder. We need to kind of, I don't want to say like outdo the men, but outdo the men to sort of even just be on that same level. I mean, whenever I go into a gym, and I go into a lot of gyms, I'm always one of the few females in the weight section. I'm like, what's going on here? You know? Because we're still looked at like, okay, what are you actually doing here? You know?
I'm sure if
That's
guys.
very true,
I
because that
think-
happened to me at gym, and I feel so like insecure. Obviously, I am a smaller framed woman, so when I do go into the weight section, I try to stay away from it because
Everyone's
it's like, and
what
then
are
the
you
guys are
doing
there.
here?
No, and then they like get irritated with you, like you don't need to be here. Can you get done with what you're doing so that I can come in and that I can work?
Plus, you
out?
must know those
And
are
then they standing around-
testosterone-filled Owens. They're like,
Exactly.
yeah.
So at our gym, there's this female section, but there's no weights.
Yeah, it's like I fully get that, right? And I feel like these misconceptions need to be broken because that's the reason why women don't want to go into the weight section. You've got girls that are curious, but then when you get
But
there,
it's like now they make them feel
the
uncomfortable.
guys are yeah, it's that look of irritation, right?
It's like, come on, girl, can you?
You're wasting time.
I remember one guy, I guess he meant well, right? Because like you were saying, find somebody in the gym that, especially if you're a newbie, don't
Yes.
keep yourself quiet. Just find somebody who can help you. And there was a guy that was gentleman-like enough to
Yes.
come over and to say to me that my form is incorrect because I was doing that.
like a lat pull down, basically.
Yeah,
It's like the bar.
but I'm just like this, and it was loose and all over the place. And he said, "No, you need to tuck in your elbows, right? And that's how you're gonna actually." He wasn't irritated with me. The other guys are there, like, hey, standing and waiting now, looking at me like, "Now are you gonna
Makla.
finish?" But they won't say, let me help you out. And then I was just like, I don't want to be
But
here
that guy
by this weight
was
section.
trying to be nice.
He was trying to be nice, yes.
Guys, we need to get to a point where more people are picking up weights.
Yeah.
And I say this because so I always say you need to
Look at you. He's like,
Because a lot of people, when they think weights, they
push
like
ups, eyes, alright.
No,
They
so
think
that's
that.
why I say this, right? From a health perspective, and I don't want to say it's like more so with women, But when you reach a certain age, things like bone density starts declining.
Yes.
So it makes you more prone to things like osteoporosis.
But does weight assist with that?
Oh, for sure, for
Sure.
sure. You know when they say like the fountain of youth, I always joke and I say like the gym is the fountain of youth because legit, if you wanna reduce and sort of
Slow down aging.
slow down aging and everything, you pick up weights. You gotta pick up weights to lose weight, is what I
Okay.
say, right? So things like sarcopenia. So sarcopenia is muscle wasting. So when you look at like older people, they kind of have that hunched over look and they
Yeah,
look like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
falling in. That's sarcopenia.
Wow.
Okay. So
When you
that-
reach a certain age,
and you start kind of like being-
folding forward,
yes, literally, and it's just that's what happens. It's a human thing. As you get older, that's what happens. But things like exercising, strength training, weight training, that actually kind of
Slows down that
slows it
process.
down to such an extent. And with women, unfortunately, after the age of 30, our bone density starts like declining at a very fast rate. And lifting weights has been shown to slow that down. So I always say to people, you want to pick up that weight, even if you start off, you know, with a lightweight.
Okay.
Work yourself up.
Yes.
But the more strength you get, I've come across people who, I promise you, 70 to 80 years old. You look at them and you think they're 40.
Sure.
just see, so they still because of
And that's
training.
from being active.
What's because?
Okay, so PCOS basically stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. So you have, it's a very common thing, but it's something that's not necessarily spoken about. It affects, I want to say, they say 1 in 10 women will get affected by it, but I think in this country, because we're not testing for these kind of things,
You don't
it's
know
more.
the-
I honestly
the
think it's
stat
more.
is-
Exactly. And unfortunately, it's one of those conditions where you cannot just test for it and be like, okay, let's test for PCOS and then you've got PCOS. It's a battery of things again. So they say usually with PCOS you need to present certain symptoms, and it's usually women that have PCOS will have amenorrhea, and what that is, it's a loss of or infrequent menstrual cycle. So it can get bad to the point of where some women get it once a year, or it's very irregular, right? Then there's basically cysts on the ovaries, and that's something you need to go and check for. Okay, so and then also, gosh, there's about 3 of them, and I tend to forget them, but I suffer from all 3.
But
So
then
you
how
need
does
to-
that affect what you do?
I always say it's my superpower. And I say this because PCOS girls tend to have higher testosterone
Okay.
than. So here's the thing: when you lift as a woman, naturally your testosterone goes higher, and that's why you're able to get stronger.
So does your body like kind of release
Yes,
more testosterone?
More testosterone, right? So women with PCOS, we have more testosterone
Okay.
already. So now imagine you've got more testosterone
And
and you're
you're
lifting,
lifting.
and it's like
So then
twofold.
it actually really
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, sorry. Ovulation is the third one. So you have problems ovulating
Okay.
as well. So you can have, fertility issues. You can have hormonal issues. You can have like acne problems, skin problems. There's a lot of things that are associated with it on the outside. But still, you can't look at someone and say they've got, because they sort of present with almost like male kind of characteristics.
Okay.
They get like, male pattern baldness. They might get facial hair. So there's a lot of things that present with women that have PCOS. Can be
because of the
treated.
testosterone that's lifting.
Yes,
So you
yes,
start getting
amongst other
facial hair, you
things.
start
Exactly. So
you start getting the male problems.
you get the not nice problems
the
that males
problems
get.
that even men are like higher.
So these things that
If you're
can
going to get male problems, let's get the
Give
good
us the
male
nice
problems.
ones because don't give us the ones that even the gents don't want.
Exactly right. So yeah, no, it's definitely something that is a lot of women can see it as a crutch because, like I say, it affects your fertility. You have women that need to maybe go and like IVF and all of that because just doing it naturally is not working.
Yeah.
So
So you turned it into your superpower.
yes, because I was like, you can take, if you take the pill and stuff, because that's estrogen, right? Estrogen
Yes.
and progesterone.
Yes.
If you take that, it kind of sort of helps with it.
But then
But then it inhibits your testosterone. So for someone who essentially is lifting or it's part of maybe the sport they play or whatever, I don't advocate for people to like, let's have all PCOS, but it just works in your favor.
Yeah, you need to put a disclaimer out
It
there because
helps.
now people are going to
know,
be like,
They're
yeah,
like,
that's...
Yeah.
how do I get people?
No, really.
Exactly.
But here's the juicy question, right? Leora, do you want to jump into?
Yeah, so Timothy asks, how do you deal with people staring
Yeah,
or wolf whistling
in the mall.
or catcalling in a mall or where there are bigger crowds like a church or something?
I can't call back.
Well, like, yeah.
It's so funny. I do get a lot of stares, more when I'm leaning out for a competition than anything else. So
Wait, I want to ask you something. Do you have a short sleeve top under there?
no, I don't.
Because I want to see some of your tattoos because I know that's also a big thing. But sorry, first
see,
finish
you
your
can see
first
these.
finish your thought because I really want
Yeah, I
to see
was
some
checking
tattoos.
when I checked your
'Cause
profile
I'm like,
as well. I saw
because
that you have a
you
lot of
saying that
tattoos.
people look at you whatever. I'm like, maybe they're also looking at the tattoos.
Oh no, for sure. So it's actually quite interesting. I've already had people come up to me and be like, poking at me.
Serious?
Oh.
Like, is this real?
Yeah, like I just want to feel.
That
Yeah.
is-
So
I've never had that, but I equivalated to people touching my hair. Like, is this real? Like, especially when my hair's curly.
real, eh?
I can't imagine somebody poking you. Clap you
I've-
once,
you know,
backhand.
and I've sort of gotten to a point where it's like it just flies over my head, and I'm just like completely.
Numb to it.
Yeah, because you know it can upset you if you allow it to get to that point. Because I've had people do funny things. I've had people in a mall where I'm walking with my daughter follow me around the mall, and
No way.
yes. To the point of where I've actually had to go up to the securities and like alert them because it's now my daughter's getting bothered,
Yeah, nervous
you know?
now, yeah.
Exactly. Or I'll be standing in this game and then someone will be like, yeah, you look really strong. You must be able to carry these things. And I'm just like, they're just for show.
Wow.
So that's
Sheesh.
kind of one of the reasons why when I train, I will be the person who's like fully clothed up until December.
Okay.
Because aside
It attracts attention.
it does, because not a lot of people are kind of used to seeing someone that looks like me. Regardless of where I go, whichever gym I go to, I'm always looked at.
Yes.
And for me, it's just like, I don't care. It is
Yeah,
what
because
it
we
is.
kind of got to the point of like, you know,
I stand on stage where people look at me. So if people are going to look at me,
people
in the
have to
gym-
judge you for your sport, literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, you looking at me in the gym isn't going to be an issue for me. It becomes an issue when it's directed at, ooh, you know, they make like funny comments, or you can see on their faces, like it pains them to look in your direction. So I'm just like, you know what?
Then don't look.
Yeah. It is what it is. And especially like with the tattoos as well. I literally, it needs to be like 40 degrees Celsius for me to be that person who's going to wear a vest in the gym. Because that also is a point of contention, because now I probably have more places tattooed than I don't on my body.
Okay.
So people want to look at that also.
People want to look at that, so then that becomes the topic. And I try not to be standoffish, because I already have the face. So now it's like,
Okay.
you know, so I try and entertain it, but then it becomes let's talk for 20 minutes now, let's talk for half an hour, and then
You
eventually
see,
like,
now it eats into your time now.
exactly. And then when you try and maybe avoid people, you get known as that girl, you know.
That one, she keep
Yes,
on like
she
that.
thinks she's that. When it's really, it's not that. I try and get.
They become like paparazzi now, where you're like, hey guys, I'm just trying to jump here, guys.
You know, it's so funny though. Like the ladies' locker room, I literally used to get trained in changed in the cubicle
No.
because it was just too much.
Even the ladies come and like want to look.
Because
and
remember, it's a change room, so you have to get.
So you can
changed.
must now see everything. Yeah.
Exactly. So you like trying to mind your own business. Like even this morning, when I was there this morning, I was like, quickly, you know, like move this. It was actually quite awkward because now there's more ink. And with that is the questions and the comments.
What does
and-
this mean? And da da da.
Exactly. You know, so for me, it's like I try not to impose on others, and I try not to be standoffish. But at the same time, it's like, if you ask me something, I will answer because it's not in my nature to be.
To be disrespectful
Yes.
or whatever. Here's my question: What's your favorite tattoo, and why?
one of my most favorite tattoos is that I got a tattoo on my inside of my arm for my dad. So my dad passed away in June of last year due to COVID.
Oh my goodness.
And he was an avid golfer. He was like, he played for like 40 years. He was in it. And the tattoo that I've got is, it's sort of, it looks like a shadow. And it's the shadow of a guy hitting a ball. But it's done in like the shape of a golf ball.
Wow.
So it's really dope.
I'm
really
interested
like
to
it.
actually see that, but obviously not now.
Is it on your profile?
You should see it. I think I did a
Can we
video.
see it after the show or no?
Oh, yes, sure.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't mind. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot that I have that are like very.
But that one's
personal
obviously
to me.
very sentimental because because your father
Yes,
and because of the
yes.
situation.
And the thing is, I've got an open space here that I'm going to put for my mother as well.
Okay.
So it's like, I try and have them have kind of sentimental meanings, because like the other day I was sitting in my room and I'm like, dude, when I'm 40, when I'm 50, when I'm 70.
These things must mean something.
But then
at
I
least.
said to my tattoo artist the other day, I'm like, this is my motivation to stay in shape for as long as I can.
You don't want
Because
to
hey, when it's chilling like that,
Truly, eh?
you look up to the look and
You
see.
know what the thing is? That is
So
my
what is
biggest
that?
fear.
You're like, so
with
that's
tattoos.
what?
Exactly.
I think that's the reason why I don't want tattoos, because of that reason. But you're right, it's motivation. We've got another one from Timothy, right? You might want to first drink that before I read this. He asks, how about a coffee date? You don't have to drink the coffee.
I feel like Timothy likes you.
Timothy.
Or you went on a date or something happened.
We haven't gone on a date. Timothy knows he owes me a coffee, first of
Okay.
all.
Oh, okay,
Because
so-
Timothy makes plans for me to come to his company, but those plans never come to fruition. So I hope he's listening.
So
to
Tama,
this.
you actually owe her coffee for real.
And you will drink the coffee, right? Because I heard
No,
that
I
you said
will.
that you do drink coffee.
I will
When
drink
you like
that coffee.
water
I'll
and
drink that
coffee. And
So
then
Tama, there
Keegan
you have
again.
your answer now, you heard?
So,
But now you must come through with a plan, my bro. You mustn't make the plan and
Yeah.
not follow the plan.
come on now, come on.
Alright,
And then
yeah?
we've got Keegan saying, is carb cycling worth a try? After a weekend, it feels like the glycogen levels drop a lot. Should someone have high carb days on the weekends to supplement the loss of glycogen in the muscles? And then and then he also says, also congrats on your Ifbb membership. Any potential for the Olympia?
Yeah, okay, that's an interesting question
I
actually.
like Keegan. Keegan asks dope questions.
Because I have this IFBB question here in my question section, but Keegan actually pointed it out actually.
Keegan
better.
is basically your co-host.
Yeah,
today.
Keegan's always on the
Keegan's
show.
dope though.
Okay, yeah, that's actually an interesting question.
Carb cycling is so awesome, and specifically for that, for the glycogen in your body. So when you're dieting in constant deficit, I mean, how do you train when you like in a constant low? It's hard to lift weights. It's hard to even function.
Yes.
And what I've found that when I actually carb cycle, I get my
Wait, what is carb cycling now?
So-
Because y'all are talking about those things like we now know what's going on.
Okay, so how do I explain this? Carb cycling is
Ek
basically.
dink van cycling and
I
bicycles.
mean, kind no.
What, you sit with carbs on the cycling, on the
Jy
tread-
carbs dan gaan
the
ry
bicycle. I meant cycling.
That's damn cute. No, so carb cycling is basically manipulation of your carbs. And what I mean by that is you get various forms of carb cycling. It's basically where you're taking the amount of carbs you eat and you're altering it. Okay, so you might have a day where you've got high carbs, and then obviously you're eating more carbs on that day. The next day you might be eating next to no carbs, and then the day after that you'll be having like moderate carbs. So it's just changing the amount
like
of carbs. So-
intermittent. What's that thing? that they do?
Intermittent fasting.
Yeah, it's like
No.
you stop,
Not
No.
really, but
but you
But
you
kind
get
of,
a
I
kind
get-
of a cycle going. Yeah.
I get where you're coming from though. So it's legit the manipulation of your carbs. And a lot of people, what they do, especially when they're lifting, they'll do like a high carb day, for example, on a leg day, or a high carb day on a back day, because it's usually the days that requires the most amount of energy. Because remember, carbs are energy. But let me tell you something. When you are actually doing this best,
It works.
Yeah, because like I say, you kind of in a depletion for majority of that week.
And then you
then
just-
when you pump in that carbs, you're like,
You're like, yeah, let's
it's-
go. You feel
it
like Hulk.
allows you sort of to think of it when you're driving in a car and you're running on E, right? When your carb cycling or your high carb day is kind of like filling your tank again, and it allows you to go on for further, right? So carb cycling basically has that, and it's for gains. It's amazing. It allows you to sort of replenish your glycogen level. So it's just such a good thing to be on. And I do put some girls on it.
Okay.
They tend to respond better than actually just having them on low calories. Because a lot of people, guys, low calories is hard. And so what I found with ladies is when you carb cycle them, they tend to stick to their diets more because they actually have something to look forward to. And also, you're not stressing your body out as much. So you're not risking your thyroid, because what happens is when you're constantly in that low, your thyroid gets stressed out.
Yeah.
So when you kind of replenishing, almost like a cheat, but clean
So
cheating.
it's like a reset. Like
Not at those cheat days of like
lump-
lots of pizza and
Yes,
burgers
no,
and
no, no.
chocolate cake.
There are some people that do that. I don't.
So any potential for Olympia?
So that's always the goal.
So what's Olympia? Like the Olympics for bodybuilding? Or is it Olympics?
It's okay. So you have various federations in the country, right? You've got the IFBB. You have
What's
IFBs.
IFBB first?
So
Because I see you saying congratulations on IFBB.
Okay, so I used to do IFBB. IFBB, if you want to think about it, is sort of like if you are looking at getting protea colors, you will do IFBB. So there's various comps that you need to do
So you have to do a series of competitions.
to get to
and
that point.
Adds up to a certain
Yes,
amount of
and
points.
the
or-
big competition there is the Arnold Sports Festival. Okay, so that's like the upper echelon. Your NPC is like the rival federation for IFBB, I would say. Okay, and that is the federation that way, if you do the competitions, that will get you to Olympias eventually.
Okay.
So Olympias is, yes, it's like the creme de la creme of all the bodybuilders. You have to be invited to it. You've got to win competitions. You have to win a regional, and you need to get your pro card.
Okay.
Once you've gotten a pro card, you can basically go for your Olympias.
Do you experience any racism in the sport?
No, not at all, which is it's, you know what,
Because it seems like a white dominated sport.
you know what, I always say that, like, and not for anything, but I think the white people have they've been open to it longer than us,
Yeah.
or anyone of color, I would say. But let me tell you, I've met the nicest people in the sport. I always thought also, like, the cattiness and stuff as well. No.
Don't.
Backstage, it's probably, and I don't know, maybe it's because of our ages also, because we're all, like, matured.
Okay.
But
So it's
there
like there's no
isn't-
time for any of that.
No, people are nice. And the thing is, you're so worried about the bloody stage that you don't even
That
care
you're not
about
worried
still being
about this other person,
No,
yeah.
but I always, from the officials to the judges, regardless of race, they've always been nothing but like hospitable. They're always helpful. It's just, for me, like I said, I've met the most interesting people there.
Yes, cool. Byron, I see Byron is watching.
Yeah.
He said he's gonna watch. What's Byron asking there?
He says, "What's up, Nicole? How did you feel when Kai Green commented on your Instagram pic?"
Like I won the lottery.
Okay, first let's put some.
Who is Kai
Let's
Green?
put some context to the story because we don't know who Kai Green is.
Okay, yeah, have a look first.
We only know Kai.
Yeah, my nephew's name is Kai.
Oh, that's a good name.
It is a
It's a
good
strong
name.
name.
It is a good name.
Kai Green. He's an actor.
He is a bodybuilder. He is, I want to say he's like a gentle giant, but he's a big guy, like in size, with the softest voice.
Aw,
He's such a gentleman,
Gentle giant.
like a gentle
definitely
giant.
Gentle
I'm
giant.
trying to find him here.
But he's
Does he have a ponytail like
yes,
Casper
it's
New
like,
First?
yes. That's it. But let me tell you guys, light on his feet, because he's an open bodybuilder. He was an open bodybuilder, right? And they're required to do routines. But the guy has moves.
I'm waiting for his video to come
Yo,
out.
he's got a lot of followers. on Instagram.
So that sport, now, it's interesting
he's
because
so big.
yo, bro, you can
It's
see.
big. It really is big.
I want to ask you about bum muscles now because I see Kai Green. Just you see the muscles in his bum, literally.
You know,
Is there muscles in your bum?
Oh, for sure. So your,
Is that a thing? Like, do you have to like
Don't call them glutes,
flex your
you know?
bum?
Your glutes is basically the biggest muscle in your body.
Gee.
Look at him.
Yeah, check that. That's
Oh my gosh, he is huge.
He is.
so he commented.
But
What
please
did he
look at
say?
it was more just, I suppose, giving me gas,
Like hyping you up.
hyping me up.
Sure.
Look at it. What does this mean when you do this now? You're showing your legs.
It's literally just a routine to sort of highlight
Okay.
all the. But look how loose he is, guys. Please.
It's like he's dancing.
He is
bruh.
extremely
He's
loose.
like
He's
popping
such a
and
big
locking.
guy.
So he's moving to the beat of the music.
Are you supposed to pop and lock when you do this?
Look at those-
Every routine is different.
Because I see
My
some
gosh,
people do like somersaults.
It's
and
like
things.
he's got muscles
Check your-
on muscles
Yeah,
on
bruh.
muscles.
But look at him.
This is glutes now.
Yeah, so that's your glutes. Your glutes is your gluteus muscles, 3 muscles
Just
there.
see.
And
Is this 1, 2? What is this part of the?
so that's your quads,
Quads.
basically, right?
He
Look at
is
that, bro.
Very big.
Yo, that man look
What's
like he can
this?
squash
Yeah.
your head like
That's hamstrings.
a grape.
I'm literally. I
And
see
this,
like.
I see this in your picture also.
So that's
Your
your trap muscles. So guys, I love back, eh?
And you always like most of your pictures on your Instagram is your back.
Because
You
it
have
used
a
to
very
be,
nice back.
it used to be such a weak point. Thank
You have a very nice
Oh,
back.
that's for a compliment. You have a nice
I
back.
love that. Thank you so much. That's such a. It means the most.
But it is. You have a very nice back. I was also like, wow, those are muscles.
So my coach always says competitions are won from the back.
Okay.
Hence, I spend a lot of time.
How do you jump your back?
Your back, look.
Because imagine,
Gosh.
you know, to jump your chest, you have to do push-ups. Now, how you come on now do
So
push-ups?
that's like your.
Like that. Backwards.
So that's like your deadlifts, your
And
pull
does
downs,
this
yes,
do your back?
your lat pull downs. There's a lot of exercises that you can do, but it used to be a weakness for me, and so it was just something that I was like, no, I'm gonna make myself strong. And if you have a strong core, your back.
Ah,
Your back
okay.
follows. Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, Nicole, we've reached our time. Can you believe it? And we're still getting so nice into the topic now. I think before we go, another question is, what's water loading? Because, you know, dear Byron in the comments, now, he says, hey, bro, there's this thing that you have to do where you look like a dry biltong. Is that
Byron is
water
right.
loading?
That is basically
Like,
Dry biltong.
You look like a dry biltong.
So
real.
yeah, so the most basic way I can explain it is literally it's a manipulation of your water intake leading up to a competition. So usually it is like a week to 5 days out before your competition. That's when you'll start manipulating the water. And so various athletes will have various ways of doing it. But basically, it starts with you drinking X amount of water one day, maybe increasing it the next day by a liter or 2, then dropping it quite low the day after that, to the point of when you're stepping on stage. For example, if your competition is the Saturday, the day before you're drinking next to nothing, the day of is practically nothing, like just sipping. And what that does is it basically brings all the water out of your body and sort of tightens you out. And so
Sure.
that look that he had there, that grainy,
everything is like-
striated
Where
look,
you see the lines of the muscle.
yes, that is the basic premise of water loading, is to kind of pull everything tight.
What's that picture of the alien that you have on your Instagram?
What alien?
You have a picture of an alien on well, like a little thing that looks like an alien, and then it says something about, because I saw that and I didn't understand it, and then when Byron explained it to me, I was like, oh, that's what that means. There's
How
like
far back is that picture? I don't
there's like a gray like monster looking like this, and then
I
it
need
says
to see that.
when you tell it's on your
I feel
Instagram.
like I don't even remember what I did yesterday, so.
No, I don't see that great. That
It's like a
thing.
grey little monster. I'm gonna show you now, Nicole. Just check it. It's here on your Instagram. I don't know how far back it is because
Just
I
it
was
must be
stalking your
very far
Instagram. Sheesh. You had like this grey, little, like an alien monkey. Did you find it, Leandra?
No.
And then where did I see it? I saw it on your thing. I definitely know I saw it on your thing. How many pictures do you have? Maybe it was like a long time ago.
Probably like a
But
decade
anyway,
ago.
if I find, but it had something to do with this water story.
Oh, wait, I know what you're talking about.
What is this? Like a little monster looking into the air.
It's like,
It's like a
almost like
monster,
an ET looking thing.
Like an ET thing, yeah, with a
Yes.
dried out face.
Yes, because I feel like that's what we all look like after we've had the water drop. Because you look like yourself
Yeah.
literally up until the day before the competition. And for some reason on the day of the competition, you look like
Like a ET.
you're like a not version of yourself. So yes, that is it. I get what you're
Why
saying.
do I feel like I've seen that picture somewhere?
I saw
But
it
not
on your profile.
Not on your profile. Something else.
But if I find it anyway, I'll let you
It's
guys
something
know.
like bodybuilders be like,
Yeah.
still have a little bit of water to lose. Or something like that.
Yeah, and then yes, exactly that. Because I read the
And then
caption.
they look like
and they look
Gollum.
like
Yeah.
they look like a bone.
Yeah, no, it's
So, Nicole, thank you for coming today.
guys.
It is really, really cool. Just give us some closing remarks, as like especially with people as far as health and fitness is concerned.
Guys, everybody needs to be moving.
Yes.
And it's not easy, just to say like, move and just move from here to there. We need to be...
Yes, it. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly, that.
Jesse, can you zoom into us, bro?
Wow.
No, because I'm like, wait, people are gonna want to know what I'm talking about. Now you just got a lot of some more Instagram followers there because they all went to there to go and look now. What are we talking about?
Yeah, so I will, in my divine genius, I will post certain things like that. I think I post something sometime back about Oompa Loompas, the orange little Oompa
Yeah.
Loompas, and I'm like, these are what bodybuilders look like at a competition because we're all like tan and stuff.
Yeah.
So we look like, all
What
pumpkin
is that?
and
Look
everything.
like car oil that you rub on yourselves. What is that? Like a
Okay,
spray tan or what?
it's literally spray tan. It's spray tan.
Okay.
Because some of you, when the white guys look like black guys.
Yes, like it's okay. So I think the premise behind it is that being darker sort of makes
The definition more
definition be
visible.
more pronounced, and just the way the light hits your body on stage, it's a better look.
Okay.
So you have everybody sort of aspiring to be darker on that day.
I see.
And then oiled up.
Yes. So there's this thing called glaze that we put on. And it's like you will literally put it on maybe like a couple of minutes before you step on stage. That's why we all look like shining bright like a diamond.
Yeah, no.
Like, they used to play the Rihanna song when you come out.
I feel like I'm going to use that as my next song.
Yeah.
My posing routine.
Look like car oil. I was like, yeah, really like this grease.
And it is though, it is because see, after a comp,
That means you
look
can
dirty.
shower.
You look dirty, because it's like your feet, it's in
Yes,
between your
yes.
hands. It's
And it's probably like
it
an
gets
irritating
in.
feeling like,
Yeah, it gets
Mr.
in
New.
like all the creases and everything. So you look like a struggle person.
so if you go and play in the dust after that, it's bad.
No,
All
you
that dust is in
are
all
gonna
your
come
cracks.
out looking like something else. But no, it's such a interesting experience. And yeah,
Sorry, we were still on the closing remarks, but then I found the picture just because of a detour.
And
No, it's
you're
just-
saying keep moving.
keep moving, and gosh, it would be so easy to be like, guys, let's all go to the gym. But
Yeah.
make small little steps, set realistic goals for yourself, be patient with yourself as well, and educate yourself, because I think a lot of it is people not educating themselves to a certain thing, and the more you know about it, the better you will become at it, right?
Yes.
So everything is like a practice makes perfect kind of mentality,
Okay.
and like humble yourself, ask for help. I always say to people, when you get into the gym, don't go to the cardio section. Put yourself in a situation where you are uncomfortable.
Okay.
Go to the weight section. Ask people. Ask for help. Arm yourself with trainers, because they literally are going to be the key for you to opening up what it is that you can do. And you never know. You might be really strong. You might actually enjoy it. I get a sense of pleasure from having like a stressful day and then going into the gym and just not thinking
blowing
about
off steam, yeah.
you don't think about anything else but moving that weight.
So it's like a whoosah moment for
Yes,
you.
it's like therapy. It's like
therapy, yeah.
therapy, yeah. So, yeah, no. And then holler at me if you need help.
Yeah, okay, guys. So please do. What's the easiest way to get like what are we looking at? IG, because I feel like you're very active on IG.
Yeah, so I think IG is probably the better option. My website is going through like a rebranding type thing.
Okay.
So probably within the next week or so, that'll be up and running again. And then people will be able to contact me there as well. So once it's up and running, I'll obviously post it on socials. But
IG seems to have a lot of you. So what's the handle there? It's icon.
yeah, so it's iconic with a K _ fitness. So yeah, man, I work with a lot of ladies who have comorbidities.
Okay.
And so I kind of like to have the approach of this is not a copy and paste situation. So, when I do work with you, whether it is writing a diet plan for you or training you, it's for you.
Okay.
Each situation is unique.
Each situation is unique because this isn't like a conveyor belt, where we're just sending people
One
through.
size fits all.
No, and the thing is, you want people to enjoy
Their process.
so that when they're done with you, they're not like, I'm done with this life.
They're like, yes.
You want to
Finally.
create long-lasting effects, and you
Exactly.
want people to be able to look back and be like, man, I actually learned something.
What's your pricing like?
I am very...
Do you have like packages and stuff?
I do. I actually do have packages, and like I said, I'm going through a bit of a relaunch. And one of the things that we're doing is we're actually going to try and relaunch a 12-week program. But it's not I'm going to get you abs in 12 weeks. If it happens,
Yes.
I'm glad for you.
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking
Like
for.
me, I'm probably gonna get it in less than 12.
Yeah, man. No.
But
Especially the abs. The
I
other
mean,
things I don't know, I'm not sure.
I think I need to use you, actually.
The other things I'm gonna suffer right. Yeah.
But it's more of a let's get you in the right direction. The aim is for you to learn as much as you can within that 12-week period so that you go out and you are able to go forth and be comfortable in the gym or be comfortable being more fit, more active rather.
Yeah.
And then I'll be giving away, because I do apparel as well. So I'm going to be giving away some apparel and stuff.
Nice.
And
So most of that you'll find on your IG.
you'll get it on the IG, hopefully by the end of this week. You'll get it on the pages as well. So, yeah.
Cool.
So cool. So it's iconic ICONIK
Yes.
_ fitness. So go
Yes.
check that out. And then Nicole, thank you for coming. Closing remarks from you, Lee.
No, thank you so much. It was so informative. I remember though, like when we first started the Inside Show on the Sundays in Studio with Mo, we did have bodybuilders in here, but it was mostly just we didn't get that much information in terms of like your dieting and those kinds of things because
So technical.
that was mostly just to do with fitness. But thank you so much. I learned so much from you. I'm motivated once again to go back to the gym and you said keep moving. Because I am at the age now where, like you were saying, bone density starts to decrease. So that was also something that I learned that was new for me to also like, hey girl,
Guys, let's
get
not
up, keep
like,
moving.
keep the problem.
Exactly.
It's such a, all these things, when I look at these comorbidities, a lot of them are things that can be prevented.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
You know what I mean?
You can squash them, yeah.
Exactly.
You just have to become active.
You literally just have to become active.
And I'm
Guys,
going to
that's
be
our time.
more motivated to go to the weight section.
Yeah.
Despite
Don't
what
let
they
them look at you finally there in the
Yeah.
weight section.
No.
Go show them.
Next time I'm also going to come on here. Now,
I'm
so
here.
I'm going to be like,
No, guys, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you
thanks,
for
Nicole.
coming.
Such an honor.
Thank you for
Such
coming.
an
Ladies and gentlemen, please do catch Nicole on her Instagram. So that's iconic ICON. What?
ICONIK _ fitness.
Yeah. So please do catch Nicole on there. And then if there is any questions or if you want to understand how much the packages are and what kind of package and the times and all that, please do just send a inbox over there, or what do you call it, a direct message.
DM.
Slide
Slide into
into her
the
DMs.
Especially Keegan.
Yeah, Keegan, slide into
Yeah.
the DMs and bring the
Yeah.
coffee, my bro.
No, Timothy must bring the coffee.
Oh, Timothy must bring the coffee. All right, yeah. Okay. Keegan, bring the questions. And then I don't know whatever happens after is up to you. That's not my business. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. We do have shows every morning from 9 to 10. And so please do check it out. Please do subscribe and hit the... please hit that little bell next to the subscribe button. What that does is lets you know when we do go live, and that just makes life easier for you. Please like this video. It just helps with the algorithm to get the video out there, so when people search things, it pops up one of the first videos. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next show. Love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to it.
Good morning to the folks. What up to the youngins and bless up to the world.
And then Tay just put your info on blast like that.
It's what the people want to know, bro. My bad.
Nah, bro.